the longest match on the card, and I don't think any of it was fun to watch.
Well, and you took away Keith Lee's title after like a month.
You made him give away a title, and then you took away his title for a guy who got injured during the match and can't carry the title. This is Finn Balor all over again, but not good at all.
Definitely not good. Should have kept it.
And he could have kept it after Karrion Kross was injured. They could have been like, oh, Keith Lee's still the champion because Karrion Kross can't be the champion. Nope. Keith Lee showed up on Raw. And we're going to talk about that more later.
What they should have done was call an audible in the ring and have Keith Lee win.
Yeah.
And then he could take the title up to Raw with him, and he could relinquish it. He could, he's
going to fight Randy Orton. Randy Orton could fight for the NXT championship. Everybody's been talking about how Randy could go.
Right? There you go. And then he could drop it to somebody later on. He could be in Raw and NXT. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like they're traveling right now.
Right.
So there were so many better ways to do this. Definitely the most disappointing. But you know what? I mean, it has to happen. It had to happen sooner or later. We know that.
Yeah.
WWE is good at making their milestone pay-per-views suck, and for your number 30 takeover, they made it suck.
Yeah. And definitely not in a talking Shop A Mania way. No, Karrion Kross and Damian Priest both came to NXT like within weeks of each other, and so they're always going to be compared in my mind. I'm glad Damian Priest is the guy who didn't get injured because I like him far more than Karrion Kross.
I'm also glad he's the guy who didn't get pushed right away because build some guys up with the talent you have there. Slowly build them up. You don't need to push them right away.
And with how similar, like he's supposed to be a psychopath and shit, how similar that is to kind of what the Fiend's got going, even though it's a completely different realm, but it's still the ultra violence vibe.
Right.
Keep him as far away from the NXT main event scene because I don't want Vince to see him. I don't want Vince to say, "Oh, that's going to be my new toy." Fuck the Fiend.
No, or even join the Fiend in the new family or Wyatt family or something. You just don't need that.
Yeah, but he would be the one to join the Fiend and then take the Fiend out to take the lead.
Right.
You know.
Oh yeah.
I don't want that either. No.
So we ended the pay-per-view 4-4. We did go to the tiebreaker. Gargano was in the ladder match. Mac won with the tiebreaker. Sorry,
tiebreaker.
It's cool though that both this one and the last match were the other pay-per-view were so close. In fact, SummerSlam came down to the last match for you and I.
Yep
that was intense. Best match of the night, Pasty? We agree, right?
The ladder match, yeah.
Ladder match, hands down. I don't think it's debatable. Final grade, I gave it a B-.
I gave it a C because you gave it a B-, and this is fucking TakeOver. I expect more from TakeOver. So it lost points. This should be in the D range, if I'm being honest with myself.
Grading it on a curve, I'm definitely going to give you the C. I'm going to say I think the final grade should equal a C.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be any higher than that.
I just feel like there's only two noteworthy matches on the card, and I don't know.
So we'll give it a C because it's the worst.
It is the worst.
It's the Brita of NXTs. It's the worst. But that brings us to WWE SummerSlam, which I was so ready to be disappointed in. Oh, I do want to say before we move on, NXT TakeOver XXX was the very first NXT TakeOver my son's ever watched from beginning to end, and I felt so bad for him.
Oh, no.
Because I always talk up NXT TakeOvers, and he doesn't really follow NXT. He follows the main roster, but he doesn't follow NXT. He follows main roster, and Impact is basically his two. And I always talk up NXT takeovers, and I was selling this one for him too. And it was like, it's kind of like, well, yeah, you keep your takeovers, Dad. Oh man, I felt like a schmuck. But we moved to SummerSlam 2020. Definitely wasn't expecting much from this one. We had a pre-show. I did not watch United States Championship. Of course, put the black guys on the pre-show. Come on, Vince.
And when we predicted this was in the middle of the card, and we noted that, hey, it's kind of cool Apollo Crews isn't on the pre-show. And then he was.
I'm surprised Vince didn't have a 17-year-old with glasses walking around with an assault rifle. Anyways, Apollo Crews defended
Talk it up for a minute, Daddy. I'll be right back.
Apollo Crews successfully defended his United States Championship against MVP. Of course, Pasty and I both picked Apollo Crews. Would have been nice to see MVP do something, but like I said last week, he doesn't need the title, and Apollo Crews is actually, well, kind of getting his due, even though he's getting thrown on the daggum pre-show of the second biggest event of WWE, so kind of shows you where Vince is at with him, but it was a short match, 6 minutes, 40 seconds. I think that's fine. And so then we moved on to the actual main show. SmackDown.
I do have to say, I do hate that they are doing this. We're a black team. You're black. Join our black team. You won't join our black team. We hate you.
Yeah.
I don't like that storyline at all.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I noticed that when they were talking about them MVP trying to recruit. Who is he trying to recruit now?
Well, he's got Shelton Benjamin. He's got... Was it Big E? I don't know. Miz was saying something, talking to
It wasn't Big
on
E.
SmackDown about him being a single star or something.
Yeah, it wasn't Big E. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, he was backstage trying to get somebody to join him, and it's just like, yeah, I'm all for having a strong black faction. There's nothing wrong with that, but it shouldn't just be like, hey, anybody who's black needs to be in my group. You know, even the Nation of Domination didn't do that. They had white people, they had Puerto Ricans, they had Samoans.
Mm-hmm.
They had a little bit of everything in the Nation of Domination.
Titus Worldwide had Dana Brooke.
Right? And the Titus World Slide.
Yes.
So we move on to the actual main show. Pasty, SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley actually beat Asuka.
With a little help from her friend.
She didn't really get a lot of help from Sasha. There wasn't a ton of interference. I was kind of surprised. Other than an inadvertent hit that when Asuka went for a hip attack and she ended up hitting Sasha Banks by accident.
The point is, Sasha Banks was there for her friend when she needed her.
She wasn't. She was just standing on the apron and accidentally got hit. She didn't do anything for her, you know what I mean? She just accidentally got hit. Bayley hit a Bayley to belly. Bam. She kept the championship. In an okay match. It wasn't great, but it was okay, I thought. But they're definitely planting seeds. You can tell that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely expounded on SmackDown a little bit more.
Yeah, and the commentators were definitely like, "Oh, it was because of Sasha Banks." It's like, well, yeah. But Sasha was just standing on the apron when Asuka missed a hip attack and hit Sasha instead.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, it was a good way for the heel Bayley to win, and Asuka didn't look weak in this match at all.
No, in fact, she got pissed off and came back worse than ever.
Oh, she did great. She did really good. We'll see moving on later on the night how she did.
Yeah, they definitely spaced those matches out. I was kind of anticipating them being back-to-back.
I'm glad they did, honestly.
Yeah, it works for the story a whole lot more.
It does. And I think it works for just the audience, too, to not watch a similar match.
And it's a SummerSlam with 3 women's matches. That's kind of crazy to think about, too.
We're just happy about that.
It's cool.
And none of them were on the pre-show.
Yep, none of them were on the pre-show.
And none of them were really, goofy matches at all. You know what I mean? And none of them were 3-4 minute matches. They all got 10 minutes or more, so. Good stuff. What do we got next?
Then we got the Raw Tag Team Championship, seeing the Street Profits retain their gold against Andrade and Angel Garza. I was really excited about this match, and then I didn't pay much attention to it. Because I wasn't expecting shit out of SummerSlam, so I watched with the intention on paying mind to like 3 matches.
Yeah. This match wasn't, I mean, you and I were talking it up, and it definitely wasn't as good as I thought it could have been. I thought it could have been the runaway match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. It wasn't bad. The match was as good as you would expect from a Raw match between these two, I think.
I think the thing is I find myself every Street Profits match. I say I love the Street Profits, but at the end of every Street Profits match, I'm like, God, I really can't wait for Montez Ford to do his own thing, because he is gonna be fucking money.
And he's actually probably my only major gripe of this, is that Montez Ford was just taking a beating and getting whooped and staying in there, and then he tagged out. And then, like, I don't know, 1 minute later, he tagged back in from Dawkins. It didn't really make much sense, but, I mean, they ended up winning, so it didn't hurt them.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, at 7 minutes, 50 seconds, this match was definitely the afterthought of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it just could have been so much more. They only gave him 7 minutes, 50 seconds.
Yeah, nope. I thought this was going to be like a New Day Usos match, something to be proud of.
And it definitely wasn't.
No.
Definitely was not. I gave it a B-.
That's not bad.
No, it wasn't.
It's better
bad.
than all of NXT TakeOver 30.
But we went from a match that I expected to be great and was not bad to a match I wasn't sure about that, at least for me, exceeded expectations. No DQ, loser leaves WWE. Mandy Rose defeated Sonya Deville, as we all knew she would, which is fine.
Yep.
But God, I was so excited after this match. Rose and Deville, this is the blow off to their match, and this match felt like a blow off. I loved it. It was hard hitting. You could feel the emotion. The baby face proved her toughness by outlasting this MMA fighter in a match that she should have been able to just dominate. I think Rose is turning into a really good baby face. I could see Rose maybe being the one to take Bayley out and taking the title from her. I don't know.
That'd be interesting. She's definitely coming into her own, though. Like a year ago, I definitely would not see her in a position to put on a match like this.
No. I didn't expect it to, last week.
Yeah.
And I think DeVille taking some time off will probably be good, and have her come back just more angry than ever.
Yeah, because that's from the sounds of it, she's not gone for good. She is going to come back at some point.
Yeah, she still has a contract.
But I guess the threats continued after the initial thing. But I thought the guy was locked up without any chance of bail. So
we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
we'll get into that later. But. No, I don't know. That's what I have to say about this match. I'm sorry for just going on and on, but what did you think?
It was definitely good. I wasn't anticipating much. It's Mandy Rose. She's not there for her wrestling ability. At least that's what I thought. And yeah, no, this was good. I fully expected Tucker and Otis and Dolph and Bobby Roode to be out there, and this was going to mostly be about them, but it wasn't. This was about these two women and their story and this blow off to this feud that's been going on since WrestleMania, Hell in a Cell, maybe.
It's been going on for quite a while.
Yeah.
Enough to where I actually know about the feud.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these I'm like, what? Would this happen? Oh yeah, last pay-per-view. Oh shit, I forgot. But it's like this one. It's like, yeah, I know of this one.
Yeah, it's weird seeing WWE doing long-term booking again, and in places you wouldn't expect to see it.
Yeah, like the women's. It's not even a title match.
Yeah, they're mid-card women's, and they've got this long-standing story, which, she could come back for WrestleMania, and that could be like a WrestleMania match.
Oh, for sure.
then you've got a story that's been brewing for over a year.
And like you said, I definitely expected it to be overbooked with so much interference and